Brendan, hi there, how are you? Martin, good to see you. Okay, just to recap what I said before, let me just do this. Just to recap what I said before, this live stream is public, right? So it can't, there's going to be some information that I'm not going to be able to communicate, right? Because members pay for certain information. That's the first thing. The second thing is I need to, anybody who's interested in the website, whether you're in the public or you're a member, the website is offline at the moment because it is being upgraded. The data center where it's hosted is being upgraded, so there's a movement of virtual servers and of hosting containers, so it's a big mess. I'll update members on that just now. The website should be up in the next few days, but there is a delay. The other thing, I made a list. I might as well look at the list, right? Why make a list if you're not going to look? Whoever listens to this live or listens to this later, back listens to this, I'm aware that the sound is really bad. There is a high-pitched kind of whine, like zzz, in the background. There's nothing I can do about it at the moment. As I discussed with members yesterday, I will be changing that. There's plans in motion to upgrade my sound equipment and my audio-visual stuff. Okay, so that'll be looked at. So that's just there. I've put some things in the video description if anybody's interested in hosting a server or having a virtual private network, a VPN. The web service that I'm with, they called What the Server. Their data center is based in the Netherlands, and they basically do standard containers. You can put Windows in there, you can put Linux in there, and they also provide virtual private networks, and you can pay with Bitcoin anonymously. They don't want no credit card deposit or where are you or we're logging your IP, none of that. So anybody is interested, there's a link in the descriptor down there. Right, straight on to this issue of the website, right? The website's offline. I got an email. I just want to update members just so you know what's going on, because overnight I got paranoid, man. I put this hat on, then I took it off, then I put on a tinfoil hat, and then, I said, nah, crumple up the tinfoil hat, throw it away, put this hat on, because I wrote to the data center, because I started having thoughts that maybe the guy exit scammed, because I just paid, for so many months of hosting, for upgrades of more hosting, more memory, more disk space, all of that, because I want to beef up the Cryptocurrents Bitcoin node. And I just paid like a whole lot of Bitcoin, and then the guy was like, suddenly, listen, we're going to upgrade these hosts. So, and then suddenly it took longer, like I was supposed to have them already, and then he was just silent. There was no update. Whereas he was updating everybody for every day for the last week, suddenly he was off. So I wrote to him this morning, and let me just do a screen share here. I wrote to him this morning, and sound is good now, thank you. Oh, there's no wine. I'm going to listen back to that, man. Then I shouldn't have bought a GoPro and a Rode mic and okay. Life is strange. Maybe it's because the market's going down. Eh? We'll come to price now. I wrote to Mike Ram of this What the Server hosting company, and I asked him, hi Mike, I know you're probably really busy right now. Is there any ETA on VPSs coming online, Venzen, right? And he wrote back to me. Saying that it's been a long, stressful. I don't know if everyone can see this. I should probably have made it like bigger. Is there a way I can make it bigger? Like it might blur, right? But so he's saying that this is the hosting provider, He's saying that it's been a long, stressful 48 hours. This is at 2100 hours. I don't know what time that is from if this is the Netherlands on the 4th, so that's yesterday. Yeah, because I wrote to him yesterday and I was like, what the doobly do, you know, oh, what a backside. So here's his response. He says it's been a long, stressful 48 hours. He's gotten the WHMCS updated, whatever that is. That took all last night, fighting with PHP, and now having issues with KVM. KVM is a virtual hosting kind of server, right, over IP. And IPMI to reinstall Proxmox. Proxmox is like a way of managing virtual servers. I'm still working on that. Should be all fresh and latest once finished though. Versus 3 major versions behind. I think that was the case at the moment, that the Proxmox management interface had fallen behind. He says hence the ever increasing reliability issues. Yes, before we sometimes have had sudden downtime, or servers lost, my servers, the cryptocurrent servers lost connection to each other, and they're in the same data center, so they shouldn't, you know. So it was like a virtual hosting issue. And this is what he's fixing. And good so. So people, there's nothing I can do. You know, I responded to him. I was going to say like, well, I've got, you know, 60 paid up subscribers waiting. You know, I was gonna say to him that I've got 60 paid up subscribers waiting for Bitcoin price action update. You know. And I've got no email to them, I've got no website to them. This is, because there's a delay, it's now become a problem. I didn't say any of that, I didn't say that. I said to the guy, just thunder on, good luck. Because what are you gonna say, right? The guy say he's been awake for 48 hours fixing the thing. Right, so that's understandable. There's nothing I can do about it until he tells me the virtual private servers are available. Then I've got to go in there, change the IP addresses. I'm probably going to have to reinstall some stuff because now we're so many days behind. It's a new server container. I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm expecting that it could take another day, at best. I don't want it to be worse. I don't want to think about that. But I'm saying that there could be another 24 hours before you guys get an email from me saying, members, we're back online. The website is there. So please bear with me. That's the situation at the moment. Going to the chart, right? Oh wait, before we go to the chart, I see the price has sunk a little bit. We'll explore that just now. I just wanted to, since I've got a public viewership now, which I never have. Right, other than when I was on Tone's video and other than the videos that I made before, some months ago, I have not had private interaction public interaction in the last year. So while I've got that, I just wanted to make a general call out to say that I'm doing can everyone see that? I'm doing a Bitcoin workshop. Yeah, everyone can see that. I'm doing a Bitcoin workshop in a place called Penang, which is in Malaysia, where James is from, by the way. I'll be going to Penang Island, and in their old, I think it's the capital is called Georgetown. In the old quarter of the of Georgetown, it's a really nice place. A lot of tourists and a lot of visitors from all over the world, especially from Asia, which is where I live. So it is, and Malaysia can speak English, right? It's one of the official languages. So other than going to Vietnam or going to Laos or going to, Indonesia, it is best for me, while I have to leave Thailand for visa reasons, to go to English-speaking country and to use the time while I'm there, use the time to do some Bitcoin education, Bitcoin promotion, and to get more people interested in Bitcoin and also in me, you know, in cryptocurrency and what I'm doing there. Now, I don't know how many traders I'm going to run into in Georgetown, but I will certainly be doing the promotion, which is why I chose this title, Why Bitcoin is Important. That happens to be the title of a presentation that Tone Vase also does. He did a really good version of this presentation at the University of Maryland, which is online in his kind of playlists. If anyone hasn't seen it, you can watch that. It was in January, I believe, or maybe mid-February, I'm not sure. Why Bitcoin is important. I chose the same title. I'm not doing the same presentation. Tone pitches his at somebody who already understands Bitcoin but wants to find out more, right? Somebody who's already into Bitcoin and wants to know about the price history and where it's going and who the players are and what are the implications, all of that. My talk is a lot more basic than that because I'm going to a tourist destination, right? So I'm pitching it at absolute beginners. What is Bitcoin? What can you do with Bitcoin? How do you get Bitcoin? What does Bitcoin mean? Like, what does it mean, a digital currency? What is this? You know, people talk about consensus and mining. So just to cover those kind of things, and this is why I've got these topics, everything you ever wanted to know about Bitcoin. That's day one on 30th of March, and then why Bitcoin is important for your wealth and for the world. Because this generation, a lot of people are walking around, right, and they're unaware of Bitcoin. There are people they're millennials, they're, never mind an old goat, the hairy goat like me, right? There are millennials walking around who are unaware of Bitcoin. There are young people walking around who are not aware that the world and economy is changing in front of their eyes. And this kind of like they hear about Bitcoin and, you know, it's like a fancy maybe something, but they need to be educated. This is what it is, and you need to start investing in it, right? Because whoever is not invested in Bitcoin, right, they are not gonna benefit, number one, from the price rises in the next decade or two, and from the thinking behind Bitcoin, the privacy, the censorship resistance, the ownership of your own money, the ownership of the sovereignty of your own wealth. You know, everyone, wealth not as in you've got millions or you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, as in your 20,000 ringgit that you've saved up in Malaysia, as in your 100,000 baht, you know, that takes people a few years to save up in Thailand. They need to know that this money lying in the bank is not working for you in the same way as if you're going to put it in Bitcoin. And people need to be aware of the political and the social context of Bitcoin, right? So I don't need to tell you all that. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. That's all about the event in Malaysia, in Penang Island. Right. I'll be presenting at a very nice cafe called Diluvies, and that happens to be in Love Lane, on the corner of Love Lane and Chulia Street, if anyone's familiar with Penang. If you've not been to Penang before, you should try it. It's a good place. Really, really amazing. Right, and so from there on, let's go on to the price. Quick look. This is OKCoin 1 week futures chart, and this is logarithmic view. Now, sorry for all the annotations or whatever. I just wanted to show that there's a blue trend line that is potentially tracing out the bottom of phase 3 of a hyperwave. I like the hyperwave idea because it fits in for me with my understanding of Elliott wave, but orthodox Elliott wave teaching, whilst it's really useful to understand market behavior, right, it cannot explain what Bitcoin does, and it's got difficulty explaining what gold had done in the past. You know, these kind of hyperbolic price moves to the upside. Elliott wave cannot account for that because you can't count 5 waves here, right? I see people all the time online, analysts everywhere, trying Elliott wave counts. They can never make sense of this chart, So the hyperwave idea appeals to me. I think there's some truth in it because it's a model for understanding what we're seeing. So in this particular case, the answer is clear right now. I'm not an expert in hyperwave. I just heard about it on Tone's show when he was interviewing the man called Tyler, whatever Tyler's surname is. And the gist of what I caught there is that if this is the wave 3 here, and we've now kind of anchored to there, then there should be a steeper wave up, phase 4. And yesterday to members, I projected some of those highs, right? And we were looking at particular numbers, if you remember them. Anyway, that'll be in March. That'll be in March long-term analysis. But the decision, the indication as to whether we are now in a wave 3 or a wave 4, a phase 4 of hyperwave, or whether this is going to go down still. We don't have to wonder about that. We don't have to scratch our heads. We don't have to, do arcane rituals. We don't have to, look through the indicators. These trend lines will tell us. If price comes below this trend line, then probably we're looking at this having been phase 4 of the hyperwave, and then this was 5, 6, and 7 will be to the downside if price comes below this trend line. If price goes above this trend line and we get a new high, then most certainly we've got evidence to say we're in phase 4, the strongest and the most volatile upside hyperbolic move of this particular rally, right? And then of course we're going to blast up into double and triple number price figures up there, and of course when it ends we are going to pass below 10,000, right? Or probably 10,000 will become a base, 5,000, 10,000, something like that. Whatever goes up must come down, right? It's not just up, up, up. Okay, so that's just a view on the one-day chart, logarithmic scale, with a view on hyperwave. There's no conclusion to be drawn. There's no conclusion to be drawn about anything. We don't know if price is going up or down from here because it's losing momentum. And looking in the 4-hour chart, we see the loss of that momentum. Now, members will notice that some crucial pieces of chart curvature is missing. All of the lines that we use are not there because this is public, right? And that's our business, right? I'm sorry to people from the public, viewers from the public coming in and watching. It's not like I'm trying to flouse you or pull wool over your eyes or hide things from you. It's just that Cryptocurrents members pay for access to certain indicators on this chart that help us make trading decisions. And if they're going to pay for it, I can't show it to the world, right? Yeah, my neighborhood is getting busy. Okay, I just want to make sure that you guys are looking at the chart and not at my mug. Okay, 4-hour chart. I'm just going to switch this off a little bit. I'm going to return. No, I'll stay in log view. Can you guys see that this little wave here is running out of minerals? You see that? You see how it's leaning forward? You see how it's rounded? Right now, okay, it might be that it's something like here in the left of the chart. You see how price kind of is that the one I want to look at now? Let's look at this one. Price had kind of come from a large correction. I come below the 200 period moving average, right? And then went higher, and then it kind of petered out. You see there? That's what your crew call the droopy dog. That's the droopy dog pattern, right? And it looks like it wants to make it again, because these bulls, man, there's just no volume. I can't switch the volume off and on, but right now I can't, but they're just running out of momentum. That's what's happening there, as it happened there, you know, and then it droops down. It wants to return to the vicinity of the 200 MA before there's going to be any further advance. It's not going to droop like this and then continue advancing suddenly. That is my feeling. But let's not go on my feelings. Let's look at this wave. This was a correction. Price went up and started drooping. It started drooping. It never came back to the 200 MA, but it did go back to the MACD lower Bollinger Band, right? Let me just get closer to that so you can see it. This is on the 24th of November, right? That's a very nice day because that's when I was born. You see the price comes on the 24th, it comes in, and 25th, it comes to the lower Bollinger Band. Normally it would drop into that gap. You see that? You see there's a gap there? It drops into it, it drops into it. Here it didn't. It reversed at it. And that's the signal that, look, if it's not going to drop into it and return to MACD 0, then advance is on, right? And that's what happened here. So, but it did return to lower Bollinger Band in MACD. The stochastics in the 4-hour chart did go back to minimum. The RSI at the same time went below 50 and hit its lower Bollinger Band, right? These are what you'd expect to see on a corrective low. Now, coming to the current chart, you see that we've got a higher high in this price wave. There's a higher high in this price wave today. It's come to the same high as the market reached for at 11,700, something like that, back in February. And you see how the stochastics diverge there. I mean, it takes a lot for the stochastics to diverge because the stochastic formula is programmed so that if price is going up, then the stochastics very quickly slam to maximum, to the top. They go group at the top, as happened here. You know, price had hardly started moving up here and the stochastics were up there. But now, you see we've got a higher high and the stochastics diverged from that. They couldn't reach the top. We even have a red divergence little dot there. RSI is diverged. RSI didn't make a new high. It didn't even touch its upper Bollinger Band. So now that it looks like all these things are slumping in the 4-hour chart. Where will we expect MACD to go? We expect MACD to return to its lower Bollinger Band, either to 0 or to its lower Bollinger Band, because that's what MACD does. For MACD and for all of these to come down, price is going to have to come closer to the 200 period moving average, or it's going to have to come to the 200 period moving average, almost like touching it or turn midway to it, something like that. That's the outlook right now. Is this just going to continue advancing above 11,700 or above 12,000? No, it's not, because we can see that, you know, it's run out of juice. It's run out of juice. I know that there's a feeling out in the market. Some really good analysts are also saying that the market is just waiting to bust out above. Yeah, they might be waiting to bust out above 12,000, but price is not just going to slice through and then launch. It's first going to have to droop down. You know, it's first going to have to correct this price wave, come down, and then if there's an advance, when MACD is coming off of its lower Bollinger Band, crosses above 0, if RSI is coming off of its lower Bollinger Band and crosses above 50, when the stochastics have grouped at 0 and they start moving up, well, yes, then we can see an advance to where? To where? Let me see if I've got some to where to, like we used to say. Where to can it go? I've got it's not very clear, but there's a fib tool, a fib extension tool drawn from the low to the top of this previous wave. You see where that dot is? And that is equivalent to this kind of correction and the top of that wave, so here, and then price pushed to a 2.618 and corrected to the 1.618. You see that? It skipped 1.61 up, it skipped 1.618 to the upside, reached 2.618 and then corrected down, stopped at 1.618 and then advanced again. This was a very strange thing. When it skips a fib extension, that's what it tends to do. It does eventually come back to it, but it doesn't go below it. It becomes a very hard kind of support. If price only goes to 1.618, if there is an advance, right, so we're going to return lower a little bit and then say we push up, then price is going to 15,000 according to this fib extension tool, right? This is not a trade secret or a cryptocurrency like magic crystal ball. Anyone can draw a fib extension tool and it comes out at 15,000, and if price will go to 2.618, then we're going to hit close to the previous high. In this case, it says 20,700, but this is the OK Coin 1 week contract. It went much higher than Bitstamp and Bitfinex and so on, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to near the top and then turns down. If it goes above the previous top and continues, well, then we know we're in another parabolic wave to incredible prices, right? But we'll believe that when we see it, right? Miss Moneypenny. So that's the 4-hour chart. The 1-hour chart, now we're going to get close to price, and I want to see what it's doing because I haven't looked at this for the last hour. Let me just light this up. Look at that chart, and I'll be right back. Right, so this trend line is pretty self-evident, right? That there is not a secret. Whether it starts there or actually starts there, it doesn't matter. It does have touch points. It now failed to reach the top there. So what I believe is happening is that the bulls have still not had enough. Believe it or not, it looks like they still haven't had enough. It's like slumping and it didn't reach the top. So you think, oh, it's going to come down and now it's going to make that droopity dog, right? But that's not what, I don't think that's what's happening. I think what we can expect before that, because this is a wedge, a rising wedge, it's pushing ahead in waves that consist of 3 subwaves. So, for instance, if we say that this is A, B, right? The B ends there. A, B, then it goes up in 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 3 subwaves at the bottom and finishes in 5. So that's A, B, C, right? Then it comes down in an ABC, A, B, C. Then it goes up in an ABC, A, B, C, right? You see that it didn't hit the trend line up there because this is an A, this is a B, then it goes up in 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top. And then it comes down in 3, A, B, C to the bottom. Right? Now I believe it's going up in A, B, C again. This is A, it's going to come make a B like round about here. It's probably at it now. And then it's going to go to the top trend line. C is probably going to push above a little bit because the market's going to get excited about that, right? It's going to be a lot of excitement. It might spike up a little bit. And then it's going to reverse. Either do the droopity dog or it's going to reverse and come to these lower levels that we explored in the 4-hour chart before. So there's scenarios, but either which way, I don't think this is finished going up. It is advancing, it's not really going up it's kind of, it's like a creeping fog, you know. It's like a bull, you know, that's trying to get to drinking water that's full of crocodiles, and it's tippy-toeing forward, you know, but something's going to happen. There's going to be a big splash, and then something's going to happen, and out of that splash, when the chaos is cleared, you're going to be seeing price going down. That's what the chart history tells us. That's what the sagging indicators are telling us. Oh my goodness, mosquitoes. That's what the amount of divergence we're seeing in the chart is telling us, and that's what the price history tells us. We regularly see that happen in a 4-hour chart. Okay, so that's the 1-hour chart. I like to drill deeper than that because there's information here. The 15-minute chart. So here's the previous wave to the trend line, comes down in an A, B, C, right? So that's wave A. This is wave B, and then comes down in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an odd one. That was confusing, but I can see 5 there. So it's an A, B, C coming down. Perhaps if this is A, B, C to there, right? Then this is A, B, and C, and this A, B, C is another A wave. This is the B, and then we're going to have the C going up to here somewhere, probably to 12,000. That would make sense. 12,000. Everyone seems to be fixated on it, you know. 12 months, 12 hours, you know, 12 disciples, you know, 12 Vestal Virgins. Everything comes in 12s. So probably 12,000 and then down. This trend line here, this diagonal going from top left to just above price, don't worry about that. That's my imagination. And what is based on is in the arithmetic, in the linear chart, I made parallel channels coming down. You see that? I use these bottom touch points so that we've got an A, B, C, D to there, and then an E down. Now, whether we get an E down or not, I was quite optimistic about a month ago, and I put out a tweet saying, you know, if we don't get 12,000, we're going to get 2,000, and people were very excited about that. But that was then. Now I'm not sure we're going to see 2,000. The bulls are not committed, and the bears are not committed either. Nobody is committed to a strong direction. If we go down, I don't know if the bears are committed to that. I don't know if they are going to be able to push that far down, even though they would like to. I think the bulls are quite reactionary. So even though the bulls are not buying in mass now, when they see price back near 6,000, I think they're going to come alive. You know, they're gonna reform their herd and stampede again to the upside. That is my sense of it. I've got no guarantee, but kind of looking at the movements, that seems likely. In the very 5-minute chart, I'm going to leave it in this scale. There's us going up last night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, now coming down in 3, right? A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This might already be over. The downside might already be over. If we count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then that's A, B, C. Then now we're heading up to 12,000, most likely, or to the top of the trend line. I don't want to say 12,000 because I don't know that. Nobody knows that. It's impossible to predict. 11,800 is up there. If it takes the price a while to get there, 11,000. If it takes another day, 11,900 with maybe a spike to 12,000. Okay, so people, that's the price with minimal indicators on the chart. Yeah, look in the 5-minute chart, you see there the stochastics, they couldn't reach zero, even though that is a lower low in terms of this decline, you know, from that grouping up there, they couldn't reach zero. And price had only moved like $200, you know, so it's a tough situation. Neither the bulls nor the bears have got power in this chart. I'm interested to look at some of your questions, which I'm sure there are some. Give me a second now. Whoa, lots of people. Five clear waves and a blow off top. Yeah. Yeah, I hear about the Adam and Eve. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the Adam and Eve pattern is, and I should probably look it up. But you know, in all the years that I traded, I once saw 2 or 3 times I saw the cup and handle, and I was like, nah, I just don't like it, you know. And the diamond, and I never liked that. Head and shoulders, I think I traded head and shoulders like 4 or 5 times with success, and like 20 times with no success. And a cup and handle, I just don't see cup and handles. Like everyone else sees, hey, it's a cup and handle. It's a reverse flip cup and handle. I'm like, where? I don't see it. And people talk about Adam and Eve. Is that rude? Is that like a rude sign, or why do people call it that? Is volume a factor in Elliott wave? Jared, as far as volume is a factor in Elliott wave, as far as any divergence is a factor in Elliott wave, because in Elliott wave you only get 5 waves of motive. In a motive wave you only get 5 subwaves, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your wave 1, traditionally orthodox Elliott wave 1 will create a movement in your indicators. Wave 3, because it's got mass participation, is your longer, larger wave with greater volume, right? Will push your indicators to a new high, all of them, right? Including volume. Wave 4 comes down, and then wave 5 is weaker. There's less participation. These are the latecomers to the game. Come in wave 5, right? It's the smart money took profit at the top of wave 3. They waited for the herd to pull in, to push that thing, for all the indicators to spike up. Then they take profit, and wave 4 brings it down. Their profit taking causes wave 4. Wave 5 is latecomers, and therefore there's less volume. The indicators diverge, and then you get your reversal, the top of the wave 5, and then your correction down. So volume is one of the indicators that you can see whether price is running out of steam and momentum and participation, right? But why this doesn't work in Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is a commodity, right? That what I described to you is a classic stock market formation. The Dow does it, the Apple stock does it, Amazon, you know, kind of thing. S&P 500, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And with a mass participation in wave 3. But Bitcoin is different because of this hyperwave thing that Tyler had correctly identified, because anyone can look at the Bitcoin chart and see this thing is parabolic, man. The mass participation is not in wave 3. The mass participation is in wave 5. And wave 5 is typically, because it's hyperbolic, it extends, what you call an Elliott wave, extensions, right? So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and a big 5, right? That's wave 1. Then wave 3, it does a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, and wave 5 also has 5 subcomponents. It's like the people are piling in so much that you just keep adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it runs. I mean, it goes. There's no asset, there's no commodity that has ever done what Bitcoin has done, right? I mean, it's incredible. It's just incredible. And Elliott wave doesn't explain that. Hyperwave does describe it, but it doesn't explain it, right? I want the explanation, and the explanation is somewhat there in Elliott wave. because of the psychology, because of the participation, because of the mania, right? It's mania. That's why Bitcoin is not worth $20,000, right? Because just because mania takes it to $20,000, that's an hyperbolic overcompensation. Bitcoin is actually worth 10,000 now, as we see. So the bulls are saying, well, no, it's worth more because they're attracted to the idea of it being worth $20,000. So they're trading towards it. Are they going to succeed? We'll see. If mania takes Bitcoin to 100,000, it's not going to stay at 100,000, right? It's going to have to come back to 10,000 because proportionally that's going to be the correction. That's not from my brain. That's Elliott wave principle, right? So it might apply to Bitcoin or it might not. James, how many people will you be expecting to join? No, there's no entry fee. The workshop in Penang Island, that is free. That is a free public event sponsored by me as well, sponsored by you as well, by Cryptocurrents. I'm setting up a sound system and a display, and well, they've already got a display. I'm utilizing that to present the basics about Bitcoin for people passing in the street, for people who have been, who are interested, from flyers and online and Twitter and whatever. People will come there, and I expect about between 5 and 30 people. That's what I expect. I don't need more. You want a small cafe full of people, tell them about Bitcoin, they ask questions, and everyone has a good time, eating pancakes on a Saturday morning. That's learning about Bitcoin. Jake, that looks like Korean, right? Sure, Jared. Okay, people, that was almost 50 minutes of bumblefuckery for you. Being a vain and petty man, I decided to make this public today because I had to publicly announce to Cryptocurrents members that people, look, this is the case with the website. The migration is taking longer than expected. That's out of my hands. It's up to the data center. So since I had to make a public announcement, I had to make a public link to this. So I thought, let me invite the public. Thank you, everybody who came. You're very welcome. The Cryptocurrents website is down. If you were interested in that, you won't be able to see anything right now. But I will make a public announcement when it is back online, if you're interested to have interaction with me. For instance, Tone and I were discussing, Venzen and I were discussing this, that he charges people 0.1 Bitcoin to go to his training seminar, right? And right now, 0.1 Bitcoin is $1,150, right, at current price. So that's a once-off seminar. And in my case, at Cryptocurrents, I'm charging $95 per month, right? So in the space of a year, that equates to about $1,150 in a year, plus or minus. So the benefit that you get, people in public listening to this, and members, you know it already, you get the benefit that you're paying me what you're going to pay for a single tone-based seminar. You're paying me over 12 months, and you've got constant access to me during that time. You can consult me in email. You've got private presentations like this every Sunday, live streams, question and answering, all of that. And I teach you a trading method, and I teach you how to manage your money, because a lot of people don't realize that even if you've got a shitty trading method, even if you only get half of your trades right and the other half wrong, if you've got proper management of your money in the market, if you've got proper risk management and just proper money management, right, how you size your bets, you can make money even if you're 50 right and 50 wrong in the market, based on your money management alone. Right. So people, that's up to there. Of course, the Tone Vase uh, seminar is a completely different story because he's also priming you in how to use his indicator right now, and his pitch and my pitch is a completely different. We don't cater to the same audience really. There's overlap, but minimally so. This is the 4-hour chart in the Tone Vase indicator, the Tone Vase time indicator. You will notice that there are some 9s that don't sell off. Here is a 13. Okay, the red arrow is below the candle, but price still went higher after that. And as we just analyzed, it has not yet touched the top of that rising wedge. So there is more upside to come. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Tone's indicator. I just think that corrections, that wedges, and wedges are corrections, are wedges can become irrational, right? Because what this is the bulls stretching for a target, and I also get a feeling that there's some massaging going on by some heavy players, big wallet players, massaging price up, and hence you get this kind of price action and this funny kind of numbering. So Tone is the expert on this. I don't know everything about this indicator, and I can't really tell. I noticed on the 1-hour chart there was also a 9 up there, and then price continued higher, and now it's probably reversing. There's a reversal candle on the 3. So who knows, people? Who knows? You're not seeing anything I'm talking about because I didn't have screen share. There's a 9 right there. There was a 13 here and price went higher. Then there was a 9 up there, price went higher. And now price is going to go higher again, I believe. Not that the indicator is wrong, not that Tone's indicator is broken, is that the price action is irrational. Right? This is irrational. This is going nowhere. And it's going to reverse. Wherever it's going, it's going to reverse from there. It's what it does after the reversal that's going to be interesting. Let me just make sure there's no other question. Venzen, Tyler, and Turner, awesome. Hey, thanks, Danny. Nigel, we can say amazing. Thanks, Venzen. Nigel, when the site is back up, I will put an announcement on Twitter, right, with the link. Thanks, good to hear. Christian, you're welcome. Yeah. Nice to see everybody here. Is it class? Stenstrom is asking any predictions as to how high it will go before reversing to around 10. I was saying around about 12, between 11.7 and 11.12, more or less, because of the trend line, right? Because of this trend line. Let me just go to a more sensible timeline. Even more sensible than 15 minutes. Class, you see that? Don't worry about this trend line up here. That's imaginary. That's me projecting. That's not real. This is an A, B, C, D, E to somewhere up here, and that is 11.8, 11.900. That's what's written in the chart, right? Let's see what happens. There's no trading decision to be made whether it goes there or not. There's no trading decision. The trading decision the trade comes from when price returns to the 10.5 area. This area down here is important because there's a lot of support here. Now if it can bounce off of that support and continue higher, that'll be very bullish, and that's where we're going to get the signals to trade to the upside. To the downside, if price comes below 10,500, this area, right, then we're going to get sell signals below this area. So in terms of what's happening now, there's nothing to do. There's no trade, there's no concern, there's no worry, there's no reason to project or wish or try and anticipate it. Just let it go. It's bound between the two trend lines. That's all we know. It's bound between the trend lines, and The decider is down here, not up here. The decider will come later, right? That we're setting up for a massive trade. Whatever happens is going to be decided from down here, not for there. It's going to be a massive short, or it's going to be a run towards 15,000. Fate, destiny will show us. We don't know. We don't yet know. It's not important which way it will go. It's just important which signals we get for that direction will determine what kind of position we open and for how long the trade lasts. People, thank you very much for joining. I'm honored that there's so many people from the public interested. Members, my apologies for the website. I'm apologizing, but I can't do anything about it. So actually, I'm not apologizing. I'm just expressing grief and frustration together with you that this is the case. It was supposed to be ready yesterday. Now it looks like it's only going to be ready tomorrow. When it's ready, I will make another public announcement via Twitter. I will get it up as soon as possible and send email notifications out that it's up. On that note, thank you everybody. Good night and good luck.